Welcome to this introductory course on networking. I'm David Bell, founder of PCD Club. PCD is an international networking group for professionals dealing with high net worth clients. I've enjoyed networking enormously throughout my career, and I want to help you enjoy networking more and get more out of it. For many professionals, networking skills are a cornerstone of business development, both in dealing with clients and intermediaries. Knowing how to communicate and connect with those who are buyers of your service or potential introducers is going to be a key determinant of success in your career. This course is designed for young professionals in a number of the key sectors of the private wealth industry: legal and tax firms, accountancy practices, financial services firms, those in real estate. Within legal and accountancy firms, there are partners who focus on technical matters. There are other partners who focus on business development and marketing. But in the main, all partners, all those of a senior level, want to be able to win new business, to be able to introduce new clients to the firm, and networking is a key way to achieve that goal. Finding networks that derive new business is going to be a key skill to develop over your career. In many of the top jobs within financial services and real estate, the emphasis on networking and business development is even more important. The ability to generate new business from a variety of sources is essential to career success. Some people have more aptitude for networking than others, but nobody is born to do it. People develop these skills over time. They learn about the groups and networks that could deliver value and perfect those skills with practice, hard work, and focus. Many of the skills that you need to be a successful networker are available to you and are available to anyone, even people who don't feel socially confident or naturally extrovert. There are some key techniques that you can master that will allow you to become better in this space, in the same way that it's possible to develop skill in any area. It just takes a certain approach, some knowledge, dedication, and focus. The advantage of becoming adept at networking is that it will open out opportunities for you to take more control of your career in terms of getting promoted, earning bonuses, getting new job opportunities, travel and invite to events. If you're in a position to capitalize on those opportunities, it may make your working life and career just more rewarding and interesting and fast track your success. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover where to start, LinkedIn and social media, becoming a recognized expert, how to build contacts, turning a contact into a referral partner, and top tips for engaging with people at networking events. So, where to start? People often think about networking as walking into a room where they don't know anyone and there's people standing around cocktail tables. They've got name badges on and they're not sure how to break into a conversation or what to even say as an icebreaker. Well, this is only one style, and it's not the only environment you can use to build your network. You need to start thinking about networking in another way. Today, your digital profile and footprint can be just as important as attending physical events. And good networking simply comes from knowing who you know, understanding what they're trying to achieve, what value you can bring to them, and creating the opportunity to deliver that value. Networking can be done however you want to do it. What I always encourage people coming into the industry to do is aim to meet their peer group. They won't necessarily connect or have that common ground with today's decision makers, who are the current generation of partners. But they need to get to know and make friends with those people who are in the industry from relevant firms, who they like and get on with, and can build a rapport with when they need to develop business later down the line, when it's more expected that they will do so. The first step is to define the network that you want to build. Identify contacts who are at the top of their game. One way to do this is to look at industry awards. Early in my career, I really studied carefully the top 35 under 35 lists. I went out of my way to try and connect with these people. And I often found that those on these lists were very open to that connection because they were at the right stage of their career. But the real value lies not just in connecting with those people and moving on, but by keeping a dialogue open for a longer period. More on identifying your network later. You can ask other professionals if you're trying to meet and expand your network in certain locations or fields. Say I'm looking to meet property lawyers in London who look after real estate developers of a certain profile. A more sophisticated way to do it than simply asking is to create forums for these types of contacts, to network and interact based on a social format or conference-style event. You might have two solid contacts that are well networked into the sector and you have a relationship with. Why not try putting something together, pooling your contacts in this niche and splitting the cost? In the course of making and producing the event, you will come into contact with good quality people and you're creating value for them because they're also looking to sell and network with other professionals. By giving people the reason to come and interact with you, you're creating the reason for your contacts to open up their networks. More on how to use events later. You'll learn lessons along the way about who's prepared to help you and how. But in the main, there are no shortcuts and there is no rush. Patience is required. You will find ways that work for you and build out from there. LinkedIn and social media. Your target clients are online for most of their working day. But who are they and how can you reach them? That is the challenge of digital marketing and raising your visibility in front of your target prospects and clients. For those seeking more professional contacts, LinkedIn is the recognized venue for establishing new contacts and keeping in touch with your existing network. If you are looking to attract inquiries from high net worth clients, you might see other channels as more relevant and fruitful. In the real estate industry, Instagram is a key platform to engage with potential buyers, but this is quite different from those offering tax, trust, or fiduciary services. TikTok is positioning itself as a learning platform, so create an opportunity to share ideas or any breaking news in a more consumable format. A few years back, every tax firm would email out to all their contacts a budget summary the day after the event. It would be overlong, too detailed, and the email would be read by few people. But many have dispensed with this huge summary document for this very reason. Different platforms will emerge and decline, but today LinkedIn has the market-leading position for professionals starting out on their networking journey. One of the key things for your LinkedIn profile is make sure you have a good, clear headshot. A good summary with all the keywords that indicate what you do and up-to-date connections. Make sure that your introduction is clear about the type of clients you work with, the type of clients you're looking for, the type of connections you're also looking to add to your network. Everyone Googles someone before a meeting, and LinkedIn is often the top hit. Make sure you own that space. Make sure you're putting your best professional foot forward online through having a strong, credible LinkedIn profile. One aspect of LinkedIn that should be understood is that the more connections you have, the more you can do with the platform. Therefore, don't worry about how much you know someone and whether you can reach out and connect to them. If I have a call or a meeting with people, I send them an invite to connect. It's just a way of keeping in touch. The more you add to your network, the more you'll be able to see from second-degree connections and third-degree connections, and the more you'll get out of the platform. So one thing that I did early in my career was I had a spreadsheet of all my contacts at different firms, and I uploaded that straight onto LinkedIn. This gave me a more complete picture of the professionals that I was in contact with, and I used it like a CRM. And that is the way to integrate LinkedIn into your business networking approach. So, you have your profile up to date, contacts loaded onto the platform, what next? Once you've done the housekeeping on your LinkedIn profile, there are 4 really key things to do. Learn. Your newsfeed on LinkedIn is a useful guide to the latest trends from your niche sector. What are other professionals writing on and commenting about? Follow influential people in your field, and that will give you a better understanding of the latest trends. This can be useful in conversation at industry events. Many people share attendance at events on the platform, so it might give you some awareness of events you should be attending in the future. Research. An important thing to do is to research people in your target segment. How big is the population? So if you're looking to meet London-based lawyers doing family or divorce law, for example, or private client or real estate, define how big the population is that you think you want to be networking into. Obviously, taking the law firm example, there are so many firms that you could go to in order to get to know them better. Think about breaking the population down, then into a niche. Which firm fits your target client the best? Engage. LinkedIn is a very reciprocal environment. Likes and shares engender goodwill. When a contact creates a piece of content, they've spent a lot of time and effort to do so. Your contacts produce that content in order for it to be read. If you like, comment, and engage with that piece of content, the author will certainly notice. And it's one small way to help curry favour with them. I often find that when I like a post of someone else, that like or comment or interaction comes back in fairly short order on a post that I'm sharing. Create. Within LinkedIn, there's a lot of functionality you could use at zero cost. One of these pieces of functionality is the article function, which allows you to embed media and create thought pieces, co-authored articles that you could produce together with co-professionals. They've also recently added an audio function, which allows very seamless collaboration between professionals. Think about the type of audience you're trying to reach and then get creative about the type of content you could create. Build LinkedIn into your daily working habit, even if only for 10 minutes a day. This will help you on your networking journey. Becoming a recognized expert. One of the important aspects of professional networking is how you use sharing of knowledge in order to build your personal profile and become the go-to person in the industry. The professional services world is extremely complex, and many professionals can occupy a very niche advice position in the market. It's very difficult to be a general practitioner, particularly in the area of private wealth advice. So what that means for your networking strategy is you can build a profile around a certain sector, an area of knowledge. That will make it more straightforward for contacts to know what kind of client you're working with and when they should reach out to you. A simple way to do this is to relay in approximate real time through platforms like LinkedIn knowledge and insight about your working environment to professional contacts so that they really understand your day-to-day. This kind of information not only tells them you are a credible professional on the ground with sleeves rolled up working on these matters, it also positions you as an expert because of the nature of the post, but also reminds them that you're there. And often the key to getting more referrals is visibility. It's about being that first name that people think of in a certain area. And then it's about triggering them to take action. For someone coming through in the industry, this might start with sharing articles on the topics you associate with from colleagues or peers, or it could be stories from the trade press or media. It doesn't have to start with strong polarizing opinions. Start off with consistent, uncontroversial items that put your name on the map. You will build a habit of posting, build out your following and confidence in sharing content. One way to think about this is running a personal PR campaign over social media, which matches online and offline or real-world activity. You might be attending events, speaking at seminars, attending conferences, and other networking events. This can go in concert with your profile and persona on social media. You can obviously share information about industry events that you're going to and reflect on what you're seeing and the latest trends. But you need to build up that profile so that people think that you're an authority and synonymous with these subjects. It's always better to be generous in this campaign style with colleagues rather than overtly driven. So there's a lot of subtlety to how it can be done in order for it to be attractive. But that's the mentality that you need in order to be successful in this area. Many contacts don't understand what your specialist knowledge is or what your goals are. They're primarily interested in their own challenges. People often think others are looking at them or analysing what they're doing, but the reality is they're thinking purely about their own situation. The biggest hurdle is actually telling people enough rather than them watching your every move. Breaking through, getting your message to cut through is actually the real challenge. But an important thing to think about is how you can use social media to your advantage, to foster, to build a community in a way that doesn't alienate colleagues or contacts, and that you're consistently there, but not over the top. You should make sure that you look at the analytics of your post, work out what works at different times of day, different mediums. Does adding a video make a difference? Does adding pictures? What are the ingredients that work for the audience that you are trying to build? And you learn as you go. How to start building contacts. So, where to start? The earlier in your career you start building your network, the better, because networks have to be nurtured over a period of time. You might know someone for years before they need to draw on that relationship in order to generate business. If earlier in your career, there's no need to be too focused on what people specifically do at that time. It's better to build a broad network of like-minded people that you actually get along with, that you wouldn't mind spending the evening with, having a drink with. It's an important part of the process to be able to connect and build rapport. I would start with some industry desktop or industry awards such as PAM's Top 35 Under 35, the STEP Awards, Spears 500. All publications can give you some clues on how to build that network out. All of these lists were majorly important to me in understanding who the key firms are and who the key players who are coming through the industry are. You've got to work out how you'll reach these people, how you locate these contacts that you want. Early on in my career, I realized that if you met a lawyer and you had a good conversation, you got a good rapport with them, it was not possible to ask them whether they knew other lawyers to enhance your network, because that was in direct contradiction with their objectives. They were not happy to just introduce you to what they saw as competitors. So therefore I needed another way to approach this. I needed to think to either find people directly on LinkedIn or find a mechanism through which you can locate these contacts. There are a number of tools you can use to start building contacts in person, such as attending events, speaking to colleagues, hosting small events, using industry awards. My networking approach started with what I thought of as the Panini sticker album approach, i.e. flicking through the pages of a sticker album with different firm names and then collecting, if you like, the profiles of the contacts or connections with the key players from those firms. I enjoyed mapping out the market as I saw it and meeting people in new firms. I had a sense of which firms were bigger or more important, and so you can start collecting contacts from each of these key firms. The first steps on in-person networking are finding useful forums that bring together your audience. We have recently launched PCD's Next Gen lunch format to bring together young professionals in the private wealth sector. This was a new offering in 2022 and it's proved extremely popular and will continue to grow and grow. You need to do your research, find your tribe by trying different events that fit your profile. Another way of identifying your network is to tap into networks of senior colleagues. They might be more open to share contacts with you. If they can help you connect with peer group in other firms, it might support their relationship in the longer run. So they can identify those coming through and connect across what otherwise might be silos of knowledge and connectivity. Hosting events can be a smart way for you to build out a substantial network. When I was originally started networking, one of the major aspects that really helped me was putting on an event where I went to the senior partners at the firm I was in and asked them to reach out to their contacts to invite the next generation of people coming through their firms to our event. As a result, we actually managed to host a substantial event with a lot of young people coming through the industry at that time from a whole variety of different firms. This event worked because the partners were happy to see younger people coming through and developing their networks. They knew how important it was. You were asking for something that they were happy to give. And off the back of that, I created a peer group that was coming through the private wealth industry at that time. That helped enormously for me to identify the key firms and people that I needed to be working with and getting to know. I used what was around me to create something new. I was actually looking for networking groups where I could meet like-minded professionals when I created PCD. This was formed out of a lack of anything comparable existing in the marketplace at that time. Even just getting people together for a drink after work or coffee or breakfast meeting doesn't necessarily carry huge expense, but it does take some time to put together. There are so many different ways in which you can bring people together, often with limited cost and expertise. Budgets are always a very big consideration in professional firms. Managers in general will support people using their initiative with reasonable requests. You can really box clever, and you will see the yield over time if you're able. That's where it starts, with the thoughts around who you know today, who you want to know, and what value you can create for them. What I've seen over the years is many groups coming along. They may do 1 or 2 events. The people organising realise it's a lot of effort and it fizzles out. Whereas actually, if you stay the course, if you can put something together with some logic, with some energy, with some pizzazz, then you can find yourself in a position where you're growing your network and it's organically growing for you. But you can't do this from a selfish position. You've got to start with a very open mind about the people you meet, the benefit that you'll get, because it can take a very long time for the benefits to accrue. Turning a contact into a referral partner. One of the key ideas in networking is to build capital and spend it. Good networking is not about selling, it's about connecting, understanding, creating value, and genuinely building that win-win environment. I've always employed a give-to-get approach, and using this method will make you unique because too many people are too focused on their own agenda to try and help others first. But this is the key and cornerstone of good networking. Whenever I was going into meetings with other intermediaries early in my career, I was focused on understanding what my contact is trying to achieve, understanding more about their proposition and the type of people that give them business, how I can get more of those people in front of my contact. Here's some top tips for trying to foster relationships with new contacts. Identify contacts you know that you could introduce to them. Set out some goals for working together over a defined period of time. Ask them more about their typical client and where referrals tend to come from. Set out clearly the kind of business that you're looking for and where you can help. Find out more about their hobbies and interests, creating the chance to engage further outside the office. Networking is like a muscle. The more connections you make, the more natural it feels. The satisfaction of connecting people who eventually do business really grows. People get to know you as someone who knows people, someone who is a networker. It helps you pursue your goals. This position of being a networker will yield good results over the long run and will help people deliver on their goals. It will also help you deliver on yours in the long run. You need to take the time to invest in order to reap the dividends. You need to understand the networks of those you're connected to. Most people won't help you first unless you deliver for them, and then you create the momentum you need for them to reciprocate. You then need the patience required for that return to come in one form or another. Favours don't always get directly repaid, and being a good networker is accepting that fact. One aspect that's important not to overlook is the art of conversation. The connections that you create with people can build on familiarity with school and university networks, where you live, what you like to do as a hobby. You don't have to be from a privileged background to build strong networks. Most professionals have common ground between each other in a wide range of areas. When I was working as an accountant, I could always find common ground between other professionals in law firms or banks, because in your mid-20s in London, you're living a very similar life. You can find common ground, and that can lead to opportunities. You have to use what's around you in order to seize these opportunities and create personal growth. One of the best pieces of advice is to be open and interested in others. Try to meet industry peers and see what happens, but let the conversation guide you. If you don't get on with people from early doors, in all likelihood that's not going to go anywhere. And don't worry about that. Find the people you do get on with. You can connect with people who have shared interests with you. And if you're not finding those people, you can find another route to access them. Get out there and meet people and make it happen. Within professional services in London, there are lots of different people with different backgrounds and personalities. The wealth sector has its fair share of people from a privileged background, but I've also found a mixture of people with different interests and stories. If you really can't find common ground to connect with those in the sector, you can use what's around you to transition into a field or industry that fits like a glove. It's all done through knowing people. People often dread the thought of working a room. However, there's no need to be nervous in a professional networking environment. People are there to meet, to chat, to find out more about each other. Everyone's there with the same goal. Where things are awkward is where people are there with different goals or different agendas. So I would say the top tip for being relaxed when attending an event is make sure you're in the right room. If you're not in the right room, try and create one that does work for you. And then with that in mind, it's really just the principles of being well prepared. Look at the guest list in advance, if there is one for the event. If there is a host, ask the host for introductions to people you want to meet. Who could you be meeting at the event? Make sure you bring business cards. So many people are getting used to not carrying business cards, but they are a useful aide-memoire for people who can recall meeting you because they have that business card in the pocket the next day. One way to get more out of networking is really to get involved. So come with an approach that shows energy and enthusiasm to meet and find out more about other people. That way, everyone greets someone with good energy in a positive fashion. And that's the best way to be memorable and to create good conversations with those that will have impact. Make sure you arrive at events on time, because often the early part of the evening is the best time for people to meet when they're fresh. So sometimes if you're anxious, you might think, I'll arrive later, maybe just before people sit for dinner, or maybe just later along the evening where you can just slip in. That would be the most difficult time to join an event because many conversations will already be in full swing. And it's much easier on yourself if you arrive on time or early for the event. Be ready, relaxed, talk to people as they arrive, get your networking done, and as the evening progresses, relax into conversations with people you're enjoying getting to know. Finally, make sure that you follow up. If you meet people, connect on LinkedIn. As for an email, make sure you engage that new contact and send them something interesting in the meantime. Start your networking journey today. Download our free guide and hope to see you at our next event.